Heyo everybody, Haku here with the first part of my Magical Girl Raising Project Restart Chapter 8 read-through. Yeah? That? Okay, I felt like I messed up something in there somewhere. But either way, the chapter's called Now There Is Nothing, and I already know I'm splitting it into two parts. So, feeling really exhausted today, and I just got out of the shower and everything, which is why I'm wearing just kind of whatever, and I'm kind of blending into the back wall here. But, yeah, I did want to read today, though. I wanted to record something. I felt like it. So, the way I'm going to do this, you're probably seeing this Saturday because I'm planning to post this Saturday. And why that's important is because I plan to post the second part Sunday. So if you are watching this Saturday, the next part will be up tomorrow for you, hopefully. Then... yeah, for this, I went through like I usually do around midway through since it's 37 pages, and like putting it together in one video would be like hella long to make and make it take me longer to get up and all of that. So I'm just going to take my time with it, split it into two parts. I went toward the middle and looked like I usually do for one of the character scene breaks, and there's one around like page 18 and one around like page 21. So we'll just see how long it takes. Like, if I get to page 18 at that scene break or whatever, and I'm only at like 40 minutes, I'll read to 21. But if at 18 minutes or whatever, I'm already over 45 minutes or something, I might just be like, okay, that's a good place to stop. I'll read the rest for the second part. So, yeah, that'll be about how it goes. And I should, by the time you're watching this, I should have already read the second part, probably. But either way, it's hard. It's hard talking like that, knowing that what I'm saying to you here is not temporally relevant to how things are as I'm recording it currently. It's weird trying to speak to future you guys. So either way, starting with Chapter 8, Now There Is Nothing. And I guess last time we just saw more of them talking in their human forms, pretty much. I mean, I guess that was pretty much it. We saw Detic Bell and Lapis Lazuli getting drunk. Either way, we're starting off with Nokko-chan. Although she didn't receive any explanation in advance, once again the game restarted, and suddenly she was in the library area, and by her reach were Fled, Detic Bell, and Lapis Lazuli side by side, surprising her. Nokko-chan was surprised, but it won't stop at just Nokko-chan being surprised. Because she was spreading it to her surroundings, she had to calm down, and then she looked around. All of her party members were together. Detic Bell and Lapis Lazuli were watching their surroundings with a surprised tone. Flay, using the R item, used the start position changer, which was a convenient item to change your starting position at the start of the game. The trouble with starting in the wasteland then moving to their desired areas, despite a magical girl's running speed, was still somewhat of a waste. Once a new area is opened, wasteland to grassland, grassland to mountains, mountains all the way to library, new gates will open between them, which they'll know the locations from using their maps, and although you could move in between them, it does take some time. Although there was another reason why they were glad she used the start position changer, no one said it yet, but it's far more important. Obviously, so they don't get murdered, Masked Wonder was killed, and that was when her item was stolen. When she restarted the game, before she even met up with her party, she was targeted, and she was all alone when she was attacked. If they use the start position changer item, then there won't be any chances like that. When the game restarts, the party will be immediately gathered together. Between the magical girls, somehow, there was this feeling that Nyan was the bad guy. The existence of the traitor was suggested by Genocyco's behavior. It seems that they interpreted her pushing the other off as an accusation. Nokko-chan thought Nyan and Genocyco had a relationship together, but she guesses that isn't true now. And if she was asked about that, she didn't know what to say and would only mutter. Yeah, it does look suspicious, all of that. Nokko-chan didn't think Nyan was the culprit, but just having a thought won't be enough to persuade everyone. And right now, she didn't even think about persuading anyone. However, she was still convinced that a person with malice was still missing. And furthermore, she'd like to keep a close eye as possible. Nokko-chan, who has little combat ability, will need to rely on others for vigilance. I don't know, Nokko-chan's been kicking ass. And that will be done by sticking together with her party members for a long time. If Nokko-chan was a magical girl with overwhelming power, this game would already be over. However, because such things are only dreams and illusions, she had to struggle hard in reality. Because of the spread of the theory that Atnyan was the traitor, it helped in launching the original plan of cooperation beyond parties. With the suspicious person eliminated, then none of their discussion partners should be hiding something, right? Thus, that concern had diminished, and the game-clear goal is now within their sight. So long as it helps even a little, they'll collect all the clear helping hints they can get. They all lend their help, trying to share as much about the monsters as they can. With two parties cooperating, their opportunities increased. Clan Tail spoke only a few words. Miyakata, Nanako, and Rionetta killed monsters while arguing, and beyond that gave her the item she asked for. Pechka was nervous. She was always nervous, always flustered. Did someone like her really become a magical girl? Even if they say it's a cooperation among all parties, since only two real parties existed, if both sides were willing to cooperate, they'll do so as much as possible. Melville, who tended to explore on her own, would suddenly appear out of nowhere, cooperating with them to the extent of sharing hint messages and area-opening techniques that she found. Speaking of being alone, Shadowgale should also be by herself. Nokko-chan didn't know where and what she was doing now. Because she never encountered her while exploring the library area, Shadowgale may be in another area. But what was she doing in an area other than the library area right now? Even if she asked Fleur, she'd answer. She has to do what she has to do, doesn't she? While shrugging her shoulders, seemingly letting it go. Maybe they found another wall. For some reason, out of nowhere, it just reminded me of the wall the dragon was behind where it was a fake wall. Maybe they found a fake wall somewhere they could go through. I don't know. Or maybe that'll come into play later. I have no clue. The monster's strength, their quality, not to mention the safety when sitting on a chair, characteristics of the area. The library area, with its library-like impression, was not as combat-focused as the underground area. That was also reflected in the Demon Lord's castle area opening mission. Compared to the Great Dragon mission, this one required you to use your head. I wish the hints would actually tell us what the correct order meant. Circle the square. Use the titles, they said. The bindings and the pages are all the same, only the titles are different, but to use them as objects, Flan and Detic Bell were discussing about the arrangement of the books. In short, they were trying to decide decode a cipher. So Nokko-chan didn't bother the two. Instead, she searched for books in the library area alongside Lazaline. While Lazaline has great combat skills, her sense of intuition was also amazing. Being able to handle a surprise attack from behind her without even looking, she never got sneak attacked and was truly an encouraging companion. Oh, now we get a illustration. Nokko-chan and Lazaline in the library. Cute. Okay, just looking through. Cute, cute. They're all taught by my mentor, you know? Nokko-chan was really grateful to Lazaline's mentor, who had supposedly retired as a magical girl. On the east end of the library there were no books, just one empty bookshelf, and the library's books were all basically blank books, and there were books that were all dyed red, where you could slide your fingers in and it'll come out red-colored. According to the library area's hint message, they should gather those books and stuff them in order on that empty bookshelf. Then by doing that, the next area will open. Before them, although they said to put it in order, there were no instructions on which order they should put the books in. They had to figure out the order for themselves. The only other hint was something that said, "Circle the square." Flan and Detic Bell were eagerly discussing about the possible orders of the books. At the very least, they were speaking for the time. While the two of them gathered about 90% of the red books, they saw each other in the face, going, "Ah, but no," or "not like this." You know what this area has reminded me of ever since they got to it? For those of you that have played Kingdom Hearts, the original game in Hollow Bastion, the Hollow Bastion library, where you have to put the books in the specific places to unlock the different areas, that's what this has reminded me of the whole time, is the Hollow Bastion library. Okay, now we're moving to Detic Bell. Let me grab some water really quick first. Okay, that'll do. Detic Bell. Just before she was transported from the real world to the game world and logged in again, Shinobu Hyoka was unconscious. She drank too much alcohol while singing karaoke, and she remembered only until she became a bit magnificent. Then her memory was all fuzzy. The effect of Fle's new R item, the start location changer, was only understood by her after about a minute of confusion. Because of the R's uncertainty, it was their party's policy not to use it very much. But this item was useful. With that thing, it was a relief that they could shorten the time they needed to move around. If there was a surplus of candy left, maybe buying the R wasn't such a bad idea after all. But before they even have that candy surplus, they'll probably have finished the game. The climax of Magical Girl Racing Project is getting nearer. Clantail's party, and even Melville, was working together with them. They all placed the empty bookshelf with the red books. She invited Clantail to see if they could figure out the order of the arranged books together, but she left the mystery solving to Detic Bell, saying that her job was fighting monsters and collecting candies. Melville said the same. They probably just have different hobbies from her, thought Detic Bell. I guess Melville's not really the type. I can't say she isn't very smart, but even though I love Clantail, Petchka did say that she wasn't the, and even though, like, emotionally she's, like, mature and calm, she isn't the smartest, from what her teammates said. Poor Clantail. She consulted with Fle and tried reordering the book several times. They failed. If it's the wrong order, the bookshelf won't accept it, making a beeping sound and then spitting out all the books. They then gathered them again and thought of a different way. They tried to cook the books with fire. They tried smelling the books. They tried dripping it in water. Fle said that we've tried everything and stopped halfway. They tried turning the pages, twisting their brains on figuring out any rules. Even if they used the magnifying glass, they couldn't find anything. Circle the square, circle the square, circle the square. Bellsy, Bellsy. If she was thinking of something, an unexpected voice would appear. When she turned around, she saw Lazaline smiling and laughing. What is it? I was thinking, what do you think about a certain someone being a detective? Who? Me. Why? I just kept thinking how you're so cool and clever, Bellsy, and I got this hot feeling trapped inside of me. I mean, if you ever heard one of your awesome speeches, wouldn't you want to be a detective too? I mean, Pop always gives me allowance money, and I don't want to be a neat magical girl at all. With all the skills I've learned from my mentor, I'm going to be the great detective Lapis Lazuli. Ah, I see. When Detic Bell was drowning in liquor, she had no idea what she had said to her. She got it now, but she didn't want to hear it right now. Right now, Detic Bell didn't want to say any extra things to Lazaline, asking other magical girls questions or other things. If she said any offers when she was drunk, she'd be in big trouble. Well then, your first step as a detective is searching for clues. Roger. When Belle joined up with Fle's party, there was one thing she understood. Detic Bell wasn't that good at solving mysteries at all. Even though she can solve mysteries in the real world as a magical girl using her magic, as soon as she was restricted in the game world, her progress stopped. The speed of Fle's thinking was abnormal. There was not even room for jealousy. The great detective that Shinobu wanted to be seemed to be impossible to reach. A detective with weak reasoning skills? Well, she guessed that there was some that were like that, though it was a little weird. Once, Melville had left them, so why was she compromising with them now? Belle didn't understand. Maybe it's because they'll reach their goal soon, or maybe it was because of Lazaline. That sense of carefreeness, she had no stress at all, good or bad. Why was Belle wary of her until now? That was weird. It's true that Lazaline was fighting monsters while humming a song. Belle couldn't imitate that here, and she didn't want to. Detic Belle stopped searching the library area. The last hint she found was "Start at the top." Top. Fleur picked up a book. The book's title was Top. Top. We start with this book. Circle the square, huh? While Fleur muttered about, she started putting books in the bookshelf. The letters in the title of Top were 3 letters, and the next book had 14 letters in the title, and the next one had 15 letters, and then 9 letters, then 26 letters with a long title book, then 5, then 3, and then the pi is put there. The square was circled, that is, the ratio of a squared circle using books. So we were supposed to line up the books according to the letters in the title using the order of the ratio of a circle, answered Fleur, and then the gate to the Demon Lord's castle opened. Okay, so they've done it, and now we get to see what Shadowgale's doing, which I'm very excited about because, as you guys know, Shadowgale is one of my favorite characters. So, let me grab some water before we move on. Just a quick sip to make sure my throat doesn't get dry so I can keep reading. Shadowgale. In the game, smells change based on the area In the wasteland area it was soil, and the grassland area it was grass, and here it was mold. Because it was a game, if they changed areas, the smells wouldn't follow them. There were also no stains on your clothes or on your body. That was good, she thought. If it's soil or grass, Shadowgale could still stand it, but mold, that was at the top of her most hated smells. If that smell didn't leave her body or clothes, it'd be a pain to her. Magical girls tend to have flowery or fruity smells. It'd be weird if they smelled like mold. While Shadowgale was surrounded with the smell of mold, she set the injection device to dragon killing. She faced the great dragon. The great dragon scared Shadowgale with its barks, shaking the entire cavern. The first time she heard it, she shook from the bottom of her heart. But now that she's heard it many times, she simply rolled her eyes, not shaking any more. She pressed a switch on the injection device and fired a dragon-killing dagger, and without aiming, it hit the great dragon directly, and the great dragon fell down. She also rolled her eyes. At first, she trembled when the great dragon fell, but no more. She didn't know how many times this would repeat. After defeating the great dragon, you would get a dragon shield. Even without looking at her magical phone, she knew that the dragon shield would be dropped. So, hold on. So, she's using a device to shoot the dagger and kill the dragon over and over. I guess it respawn. I didn't know it would respawn like the other enemies did. Okay, so it respawns and she's farming it for dragon shields, I guess? She carefully avoided any floor traps along the way and left the room. Other than the existence of a player killer, Fleur advised her to be careful as someone who's acting independently. A new trap made by Shadowgale was set in the Great Dragon Hall. Even people who had no malice could mercilessly activate the trap, but according to Fleur, those people are just unlucky. However, the latest area is the library area, and there everyone was either scouting or monster hunting. There was no one other than Shadowgale who was endlessly defeating dragons in the underground area. Shadowgale sighed. The mid-boss originally would never revive. However, if you sold the event item, the event is restored, and the dragon was revived too. That was a fact discovered by Fleur. She had to take the dragon shield to the shop and sell it. Then she had to have a showdown with the great dragon again. This loop never ends. Okay, so she's been constantly selling the shield to revive the dragon, and then killing the dragon over again. Okay then. I get it. I don't know why, but I get what she's doing. But I suppose Fleur has a plan with it. So moving along to Pechka now. We're finally getting to see her group. Pechka, a sweet scent whose identity she didn't know was drifting, not just the smell. This was quite different from the wooden floors of the library area, with a shining, glittering floor and awkward sounds being made every time you step on it. Even though they're indoors, there was no worry of breaking through the floors. Even Clantail was free to transform into a large animal. Rianetta frowned as she held down her skirt's hem. This floor is so polished, people could see the reflection off my skirt. Ooh, showing off a doll's drawers must be quite the predicament. Don't say such vulgar things in front of me. It's always with these two. Even until the final area, they wouldn't change. It seems like they never change their arguing on purpose. They felt a bit harder than usual, but maybe it's just Petchka was nervous that it looks that way. The final area, the Demon Lord's Castle. Okay, so the Demon Lord's Castle sounds pretty fancy, actually. It was a fine marble-made palace where, even if Petchka laid down and stretched both her hands, 5 people can fit the corridor side by side. There sculptures and large statues, a fine amount of large paintings decorated the walls. However, as the castle was named after a demon lord, there were beautiful women with bat wings growing out of her back, and bearded men with 2 goat-like horns growing out of their foreheads, giving a horrible feeling to look at. They dived through the gate of the library area and passed through the hallways. Behind that gate, a long hallway stretched out, and after about 100 meters it turned toward the right. I pray for a good hunt to all of us. Don't forget to be careful. To the magical girl sitting on a magic carpet in the center of the mall, Flea, everyone nodded in response. Not just Petchka's party, Detic Bell's party, Shadowgale, who she hasn't seen in a long time, Melville, and even nokko-chan. Although Shadowgale was somewhat grudgingly watching Flea, maybe there's something going on between those two. When they encountered monsters, they first consulted the monster picture book. Even if they discovered the whereabouts of the Demon Lord, they won't get in immediately. Selfish behavior was prohibited. They won't rush, they won't charge. One by one they folded their fingers to confirm. If it's Petchka, there doesn't seem to be any problems if she acted usually. All right, let's move. They were no longer confined to parties, nor were there any independent magical girls. The magical girls like Melville or Shadowgale, who were independent, now all agreed to unite. In the lead was Clantail, Lapis Lazuli, and Rianetta. On the second row was Melville, nokko-chan, and Detic Bell. On the third row was Petchka, Flea, who was on a magic carpet, and at the end was Miyakata Nanako and Shadowgale. Fortunately, there was about 10 meters to the ceiling, so Nako's dragon was still able to be placed above, where it can act as support, harassment, and also warn of any threats from above. So what I'm thinking now that we're here, who I think it could possibly be, I don't think it's Flea. I don't want it to be one of Clantail, Rianetta, or, because the reason I'm saying Flea is because we don't quite know what her power is, because I'm still skeptical that her power is the wheelchair. I don't want it to be Clantail, Rianetta, or Miyakata Nanako, just because I don't think we know enough about them for it to be all that shocking. But I just can't shake that it could be Rianetta, because she's another one that her power would make the deaths we've seen make sense in a way. Like, if her power is to control dolls, but like I said before, if she can use humans as dolls, which we don't know if she can, but if she can, then that would make Yumenashima Genocycle's stuff make sense. Either that, or they're going to get to the end of this castle and Magical Daisy's going to be sitting there like, what up, fake to my death, bitches, somehow. So either it's going to be a big shock like that, or it could be Flea or Rianetta, but I don't think it's Flea. I don't think it is. I don't know who else. I'm not sure. I was thinking it could be Detic, but then after seeing her real life stuff last chapter, I don't really think it's Detic that much either. I could still see it being Lapis. Again though, it doesn't really match her personality that much. Either way, I'll continue though. On the third row was Petchka. Oh wait, never mind, I already read all that. Perhaps this order was determined by combat ability and roles. However, Petchka was separated from her friends. When she was surrounded by unknown magical girls, her heart throbbed nervously. When she began to walk timidly, if someone bumped her from behind, her heart rate jumped to the sky. "Don't worry, I'll be sure to protect you, Pechka." Please do. Thank you." She was grateful and happy, and relied on her. However, Pechka wished that Nako could say it in a way that doesn't make Pechka's heart more nervous. "Ah, stop. From the front she heard a loud voice. Pechka's heart jumped again. "There's something on the floor here. Something will happen if you step on that thing." Where Lazaline's fingers pointed, they could only see a marble floor. "Man, these traps really do only show up in the final area, don't they? Since we never found anything before this, we shouldn't be all recklessly going ahead. We'll be in a pinch otherwise." People were talking. "What did she see?" I guess it looks like there's something. I don't see it. But what did she see? Why are you asking me? Those who couldn't see anything at all, those who sensed something strange, those who kind of saw something if they looked closer, and those who saw it from far away but clearly saw something. The last category only had lapis lazuli in it. There seemed to be some individual differences. Flea clapped her hands. Everyone turned to focus on Flea. "You're sure there's something there, right?" "I can tell there's something there just by looking at it." The ones who couldn't see anything, even if they saw it, had a problem with Lazaline's premise. Their logic didn't mesh with each other. "Then let's avoid the problematic area and follow your lead. It wouldn't be amusing to have someone accidentally step on something and disappear." "Alright, then I can give you a sign. If it's body weight sensing or temperature sensing, that'd be fine. However, if it's vibration sensing, then wouldn't it be a problem if the trap springs as soon as you touch it?" "I do have one idea." Rianetta raised her hand, her spherical joints at her fingertips warping, but still looking supple like a human. The sound of marble hitting marble was harsh. The weight of the marble statue was probably about a ton. Even though it was 50 meters away, they felt the vibrations transmitted. A large stone statue walking along the Demon Lord's castle, walking with thudding noises. "How about we use this?" Alrighty, move it a bit to the right. Yeah, right there is good. Okay, so she can control the statues then. The marble-rich statue, with only a loincloth covering it up, slowly paced its feet down where it was directed. And an intense explosion happened, a purple flash striking the eyes of the magical girls. I guess it was an electric shock trap. The white marble statue turned black with soot and ash. The macho statue that stepped in the trap covered in soot, and everyone moved away from the trapped area. It seems they were already moving. "Wait a minute." Lazaline ran towards the center and waved her arms around. "There's no more traps anymore. Once you activate it, it's gone. Wonderful. Then let's have the statue do the scouting. We'll head towards the areas where traps have already been activated. That should be our safest route." A sharp laughter arose. Rianetta placed her right hand on her mouth, laughing all the while. "So it seems I can finally demonstrate my abilities at last. There have been no dolls up until this point, so I assumed I'd just be another combat fighter until the game ended. So you can manipulate anything as long as it seems like a doll. Your magic is too flexible, I'd say." "I guess a power that considers everything from goblins to dragons as animals that can be befriended isn't as flexible, I presume?" Animals that can be befriended isn't as flexible, I presume. "A human body with the head of a black goat, and the lower body of a black goat as well. Statues of beautiful women with bat wings growing from their backs. Furthermore, the macho statue that stepped on the trap earlier. There were a total of 3 marble statue types. According to Rianetta, their speed and strength is decided based on their materials. Marble statues would have slow movements, but also sturdy." Okay, now this makes me think even more that it could possibly be Rianetta, because all of the she can actually control the things in the castle like henchmen. But either way, with these statues, it would be unsuitable to fight higher speed monsters, but optimal for setting off traps, said Rianetta proudly. Pechka knows what it feels like when a magical skill you thought is useless finally sees the light of day. Because the existence of traps was confirmed, their rows have changed somewhat. About 50 meters ahead of the group, there were 3 marble statues. I could manipulate a lot more, but having too much might get in the way. Mixed in with the scouts was Lapis Lazuli. The only one that could discover traps as quickly as possible was her. If they were suddenly attacked by monsters, the question would be if it'll be a problem if she gets hit with a concentrated attack. Then, I'll leave this with you, Taily, with my super teleport powers. If there's any trouble, then whoosh, I can teleport right to ya. Lazuline's magical skill was instantaneous teleporting to gems. If there are any gems, she can teleport to them. If she entrusted the gems to someone else, she can instantly join them. That's a good ability, really. Teleportation is usually a good ability, but still. Once monsters would appear, no matter how badly it looks, there's no reason to turn back, and if no enemies came out, they'd continue scouting for them. It was slow and small, but they proceeded with certainty. Occasionally they'd find a trap. At that point, Lazuli would switch to be with the other 3 statues, and one of them would step into the trap. Electrical shocks, flammable gas ignitions, spear shooters, explosions, and traps that made no sense or pattern at all appeared, sometimes destroying the statues, but since they decorated the hallways, they just replaced them with new ones. The hallways were long, they were slow, and not because they couldn't go forward, but it's also because of its length, and there was only one true path. Even though there were corners, there were no 3-ways or crossroads. In fact, there weren't even any rooms, no doors other than the gate at the entrance. I see. While operating her magical phone, Flem muttered while staring at the screen. When Petchka peeked from her side, she saw the map of the area being displayed. It seems we're approaching the center by moving clockwise. A vortex-like shape was displayed on the screen. They would go forward, turn right, go forward, turn right, go forward, turn right, and repeated endlessly. If that was so, then certainly they'd never turn left. Until now, they've turned about 2 times to the right so far, but they're still turning around the circumference. The map and the magical phone also indicated the party members' positions. Stop. From the front, Lazuline's voice was heard. Everyone stopped their feet. From the leading team, 50 meters ahead and about 100 meters ahead of Petchka's group, a light was shining through. Fleck confirmed with the map on her magical phone. It's about 5 meters deep and 10 square meters of open spaces up ahead. Though that's not necessarily connected with the light source, it does look like a terrace of some kind. Lazuline walked forward with her neck stretched out, looking towards the mouth of the light. Dedigbel muttered out, "Why do you always act without warning?" as she trembled her hands. Lazuline had no idea how worried Dedigbel was about her as she moved further towards the light, now turning her neck around this way. "I found a shop." "Oh," said a voice of someone else. Compared to before, the magical girls all ran to Lazuline, spread into several groups, and went into the shop, checking what's inside. Fle's prediction was correct. This terrace took in light and air from the outside. There was delicately crafted decorations similar to the ones that decorated the castle halls. Demonic figures were also drawn there. In the center of a handrail was a pot about half the size of Petchka, and when you used a magical phone there, the shop items popped out. It seems like you put items in the pot and grab items in return from the pot, like in a trading-like system. They proposed a consultation about the shop items, but since their stomachs were starving, they wanted some food first, so they decided to have a meal break in front of the shop. Now there was more than twice as many people as her usual party, making Petchka very busy. She placed the debris of the marble statues into the pot and made plenty of vegetables and meat from them, making an ojiya. The smell overtook the area's natural sweet aroma. Instead of that, Petchka's ojiya cooking scent flowed in the air. Everyone moved their spoons, the airflow got slower, and finally calmed down, Petchka breathed a sigh of relief. This is so good. For realsies, monopolizing all the food should be a crime. You know what is a crime? Monopolizing good hunting grounds. That's different. Oh shit, this is so good. Don't wolf it down, nobody's going to steal it. Lazaline continued to devour her food greedily, while Detic Bell was paying attention to her rude behavior beside her. She was also eating passionately, and while Fleur was explaining the ingredients she tasted, she was also out of character, gulping down the food as much as she could. Although Shadowgale was still looking at Fleur begrudgingly, she was also eating the delicious food. Melville said some words she didn't understand, but according to Lazaline's translations, she was focusing on her food. Based on her expression and reaction, she probably thought it was delicious. Nokko-chan helped her serve the meals, I think, befitting as she was a maid. Clantail's tail was shaking heavily. Nako was professionally bragging about the cuisine. Petchka didn't really add too much to it, but everyone was pleased with Petchka's cooking. Even people other than Nako. She wasn't good at fighting, she was mostly a scout. She couldn't solve puzzles, she didn't have any other useful skills or magic. Only Petchka's cooking was appreciated. Still, she was happy with that. After the meal, the smell of cooking came along with everyone. They no longer smelled the sweet aroma of the Demon Lord's castle. The smell of the Ojia continued to advance. Petchka prayed that this smell continued to remain. And now we have all of them eating. Okay, starting at the bottom, we got Fleur and Shadowgale there. We have kind of a sort of upskirty kind of look for Lazaline here, with Detic and Melville beside her. And then in the back we got Clantail, Rionetta, Miyakata, Nanako, Petchka, and Nokko-chan. Okay, now we're moving on to Shadowgale on page 18, and I will continue on to 21, because it's only been 37 minutes. Yeah, I'll continue on to 21. Let me get some water first, though. Alright. Now we're at Shadowgale. The final area, the Demon Lord's Castle shop, otherwise known as the final shop in the game. Naturally, it adds stronger items, higher leveled ones, with a very small distribution limit as well. Weapon plus 10, shield plus 10, the prices of which were ridiculously high. Not to mention there was only one available in the whole game. Only one sold with an extremely high price, something you won't be able to buy even if you defeat 300 spirits. They expected a first come, first serve, and they expected us not to unite. However now everyone was gathered together to defeat the Demon Lord. Using everyone's candies, they were able to purchase the items and equip them to the player most suited to wield it. With a small amount of powerful weapons available for each player, it's possible that we were supposed to fight over it, but I think the Master also considered the possibility of us uniting. Fleur had a serious expression when she said those words. Only those who know her true self would understand. The weapon plus 10 was given to Melville, while the shield plus 10 was given to Clantail. While they were happy to be given the strongest items, it didn't end just there. Giving these magical girls the strongest weapon and shields is the same thing as telling them to fight in the front lines in an emergency. Let's do our best not to get into any more trouble, thought Shadowgale. Ah, Momori, you have the dragon shield. A shield stronger than anyone else's, right? So you'll need to be more attentive compared to the others when it comes to fighting. In a fighting situation, you're expected to be the last line of defense. Can I exchange my shield with someone else, please? You've used it the longest, so you're more familiar with it. At those words, Shadowgale wanted to pinch Flea's cheeks. She wondered if everyone would be okay if she just flicked Flea's forehead. The other items in the shop included, for some reason, a stun gun. The stun gun was an electric baton-type weapon. It had a button on its handle, and if you pushed the button, you could control the flow of electricity of the weapon. Apparently, it was effective against enemies with the evil attribute, so much so that if they used it against enemies with that attribute, it guarantees 30 minutes of lost consciousness. Raising even more questions was another item, the flamethrower. She succeeded in miniaturizing the machine gun-sized flamethrower. Now it was extremely easy for any magical girl to carry and handle. Like the stun gun, it was effective against enemies with the evil attribute, so much that if you burn them 3 times with it, they'll become charred to a crisp. So I think whoever the traitor is, whoever the demon lord is, will be the one with the evil attribute. So they had the choice of whether using the stun gun to make them lose consciousness and capture them, or to kill them using the flamethrower. She bought the flame, so it's going to be like a moral test of which of those two, you know? She bought the flamethrower for testing and aimed it up towards the ceiling from the terrace. A 2-meter diameter flame shot up, with the flame's heat fluctuating in size. Shadowgale lightly shrieked. Are spirits and demons considered evil attribute monsters? They probably are evil attribute monsters. That's weird. The monster picture book didn't say anything about evil attribute monsters here. Could they be showing up soon? Fla pointed at the label marked question mark on the monster picture book. So far there were only 2 unmet monsters left with the 3 question marks as their attributes. I wonder if evil attribute monsters will start appearing soon. 2 more monsters. One of them would be the Demon Lord. The other one was probably a mid-boss before the Demon Lord, or just another small fry enemy. Naturally, they may be small fry enemies, but they're not weak by any means. Their large numbers might make them even more difficult than a mid-boss. We're not just going to use the stun gun and flamethrower on the Demon Lord as our last laugh, are we? I mean, that's a pretty stupid end mark, but it's still possible. After finishing their meals, they took turns watching over the group, and then reorganized into their rows once more, restarting the advance. Shadowgale marched at the end of the row. In terms of equipment, with the exception of Melville, who couldn't equip any shields, everyone walked forward with their shields up, just like those bomb squads you'd see on TV. On the same row as her was Miyakata and Nako, but she'd always head off to where Pechka was. Pechka would be surprised every time she suddenly appeared, and Shadowgale almost felt sorry for her. Since Nako wasn't paying attention to what's behind her at all, if someone were to suddenly attack Shadowgale from behind, no one would probably come for her, so Shadowgale walked cautiously. She felt tired, yet Lazaline, who was busy searching for traps, and the other 3 people at the lead were at their best. They moved on, occasionally triggering traps, stopped for a bit, then moved on again. Since they were headed to the center of the large room, as they went on, the hallways became shorter and shorter. If they wanted to know where they are now, they'd turn on the map in their magical phones. There was one icon representing Shadowgale. So far they were about 2/3 of the way. Good progress, she thought. At the same time, it reminded her that she was the only member of her party, which made her feel uneasy. As they prioritized safety, they proceeded slowly. They had 2 meal breaks and disarmed over 100 traps before finally reaching their destination. The floor, ceiling, walls, and decorations, while all of them were made of pure white marble, at the end of the hallway, a clear wooden door was seen. When they reached there, they didn't even think about waiting. Someone breathed out. Shadowgale also breathed out. The game's almost over. It's been a long journey. These 10 days have been long indeed. They have lost 6 people just getting here. Lazaline, who was checking the door, raised her hand and made a circle with her thumb and index finger. No traps here. Is it locked? It isn't. You think it'll open if we push it? Try it. Lazaline gently pushed the door. Creak. It slowly opened up. Peeking inside of the door, there seemed to be a room behind it. There were figures that looked like knights wearing armor, and what looked to be plastic-made robots standing side by side. The figures began to move. The magical girls prepared their weapons and shields. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a chance that Rionetta could be controlling these things as the thing. But even then, it is some, like, I'm glad it's not a character I liked more if it is her, but also if it is her, like, I don't know, I feel like we didn't really get to know her enough for it to feel like that much of a betrayal. But either way, that would be what we have going on now, and we will pick up at chapter 21 with Nokko-chan in the second part and read the rest of this. So then, either way, that is it. Thank you once again for watching. No real detailed thoughts on this one. I think the setting is really cool and all, and I thought what we saw was cool, but yeah, I guess I talked about everything I wanted to talk about as I was reading. So either way, well, if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this week's, this half of the chapter, my thoughts on it and all that, my reaction and all. Subscribe for more Magical Girl Raising Project and more. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can talk to you there. Try to keep you updated there on stuff for the channel. If you want a link to the Discord, just ask and I'll throw one in the comments for you. And yeah, that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.